See if we're live again.
Checking.
Yeah, I think we're live.
Popped up.
Hey, sorry guys
Yep.
for the issues. Apparently, I can't show Teen Titans Go clips. That was my fault. I didn't think. I thought if I had them muted, it would be. Yeah, I think we're live.
Popped up.
Hey, sorry that would guys. Be fine
Yep.
if we did the Teen Titans clips that featured the older ones, but whatever, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, we were talking about Cyborg and how he kind of got moved from Titans to Justice League.
Yeah, and then he interacts with these characters,
like he's been long time
and
friends.
he's still acting. Yeah, he's acting like Starfire and him have this big past, and it's where is this past? We're not seeing it. Oh, that reminds me. By the way, did you hear what DC is doing? They're going to come out with a list of what exactly is canon and
Yeah,
what's
I'm
not.
gonna be so like you don't if New Teen Titans does not have some canonical shit in it, I'm done with DC. I won't even buy Starfire. I'll just be like, okay, I'm done with comic books. CJ disappointed me. I'm not buying any of their books. I'm not gonna buy any more DC if New Teen Titans isn't canon. I've been a longtime Starfire fan since I was 8. I stopped reading her in New 52, and I'll do it again. And you know what, DC? I'll support my local comic shop in other ways. I will still buy people books if they would like with the fundraiser. But I'm not gonna buy books for myself. I will not support creators or a company that will crap on my favorite character. And I'm hoping, and I'm saying this with the expectation that New Teen Titans won't have some canonical properties in it. But if they do, even if it's just like, yeah, Dick and Corey had a relationship, and New Teen Titans was somewhat canon, yeah. I'm gonna be happy. But if they say, well, no, it's not canon anymore, I'm done with DC.
I think that's what they'll do. I mean, it's already a tangled mess. They should have just started over fresh if they were going to start over.
You know what they should have done? This is honestly what they should do.
That?
You should hire fans you should hire fans to write the characters. You shouldn't hire your Tom Kings and your Bendis that don't read the books, that don't like the characters. That's why a lot of these characters are suffering. You got Amanda Connors on Starfire, and that was one of the worst Starfire books I've ever read. And there's and that's saying something, because honestly, and you guys know I am not a Devin Grayson fan, but I think Devin Grayson wrote a better Starfire than Amanda Connors did. And that's saying something, because Devin Grayson hates Starfire. And if somebody that hates a character can write a character better than you can, there's a problem there. And if you like solo series Starfire, congratulations. Like, honestly, I'm really happy that other people like it. I can't. It's something that still bothers me and haunts my dreams to this day. Especially when you have this character that has such this rich history and lore, and it kind of gets ripped away from her because of shipping wars. And we've talked about that before, how Dick Barbs has absolutely destroyed Corey's character in multiple times. And that's we'll get into that some other day. But yeah, kind of to go back with Cyborg, right? Okay, Cyborg, if he moved up to the Justice League from the Titans, it would make a lot more it would make a lot more sense, right? It would make a lot more sense. Yeah. It would make a lot more sense if Cyborg started off as a Titan and slowly made his way up. That would be such a cool, because Justice League Cyborg is such a boring mess. He's not even likable, and it makes me so frustrated, because Cyborg wasn't designed to be this overpowered father box person. He was designed to just be a guy that got cursed with his powers, or cursed with that robotic body. And what he does is he decides to be a good guy. That was one of the things I liked about Cyborg. He decides to help people. He doesn't do it because he's got the father box. He does it because he's a good person. And it feels like Justice League rips it away.
He's almost a monster. Yeah, he's a monster. He's not someone who you want to be. Like, you don't want his powers because he's lost so much. And I like that Odyssey is kind of picking up on a dropped thread from the Cyborg series, where they're actually questioning if Vic is still alive or if his personality is merely the machine kind of mimicking Vic. And even he doesn't know.
Yeah, that's
So that's a
interesting.
cool aspect.
And one
Yeah.
of the things that bothered me with the Teen Titans cartoon is in, I believe it was season 3 with the Hive thing, when Vic stops Brother Blood, or Cyborg stops Brother Blood, and it does the when he does the whole thing against Brother Blood, and he goes all glowy and stuff. It would have been so cool if the powers that he was cursed with were what stopped Brother Blood from controlling him, but instead it was like, well, I guess it was just my soul. To me, that always felt like a cop out. I'm like, there's so many cool things you can do with Cyborg, and it just feels like it's never done. Like, here's a guy that's struggling
Yeah.
with not only being half robot or being a monster, as you say, but also struggling with his humanity and trying to regain it and trying to see, am I machine or human? And when you're struggling with that part of you that's keeping you alive, that saved you, I think it would have been
Yeah.
a much more of an impact if they would have had Cyborg go, well, actually, I guess the robotic parts helped. I think that was, it saved me. Maybe I should, love this side as me just as much as the other side. And I think that would have made a much more of an impact, and I think it would have went a lot more in line with the Teen Titans story. But they do that a lot with Cyborg. There's a lot of cool things they do that they just don't do. And he is a much more serious character than the other Titans. He definitely has more tragedy involved in his life than some of the other Titans. But I still don't think that he's, as stoic as they write him in Justice League. And a good example is the Justice League movie. Oh my gosh, that Cyborg, I felt so bad. I was like, why is this guy no fun? Like, Cyborg was
Yeah.
serious, and he would, but he would still crack jokes. He had nicknames for his teammates. He would
Yeah.
mock them in a friendly way, and to take that away from him. And I really miss Speedy. Speedy needs to come in here. Speedy's like the best guy to talk Cyborg with, because New Teen Titans is the best run Cyborg will ever have, and nobody will ever convince me otherwise.
Have you seen the animated Throne of Atlantis?
The Battle for Atlantis.
Is that what they call it? It's the new 52 animated movie with the Justice League, and it's
Why
Aquaman
would I
based, of
watch an
course, but there's
Aquaman
this
movie? Like, not even.
because Aquaman is
Aquaman is
awesome.
awesome. He doesn't even acknowledge his sidekicks, especially speaking of acknowledging things. The chat. I need to reintroduce the chat. We have Mr. Pickles. He's saying so suspenseful. Christine Johnston is saying, "Huh." Dr. Vinkman's here. People are happy that the stream's back. Eagle43 is watching. I used to be a mod here. Oh, you know what? How's your father? You can have your mod back. I want a blah 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 a Trigon series. Neostar says go. I'm not really a fan of Cyborg. Look from Doom Patrol. He needs an upgrade. Yeah, a lot of the live action people need an upgrade. That is from Dead Punk Gage, by the way. That's the one with the brother blood. Yes. Raggedy Man is here in the chat. He's
Yeah.
also in the discussion. So hi there. Vinkman is upset that I have not noticed the chat and wants to start an uprising. Please do. Please bring picket fences and signs that says Pope Fire is mean. That will help your cases.
All right. So first of all, if your sidekick was Aqualad, you probably wouldn't
You
acknowledge
take
him
that
either.
back.
And
Honestly,
two,
though, Garth is the weakest Titan. Not powers wise, but story wise. Yeah, he's the
development
weakest
wise, yeah.
Titan.
But in the animated movie, there's a scene with Cyborg where he has to decide, like this scientist girl that he kind of has a crush on, and she likes him. They're talking about they could replace one of his lungs or his remaining lung or whatever with a cybernetic component. And he's looking. Yes, it would allow him to help the
But
team
at what
out,
cost?
but at the same time, that's 5% of his humanity down the drain. No getting it back. So that was an interesting. Yeah, that's something they could really do more of.
Yeah, to where he's actually concerned about losing his humanity. Can
Yeah.
you send Speedy the link, please? Because it's not working through me. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so another thing we talked about before we came in here, and Speedy's gonna kill me for talking the Teen Titans before we talked about this. But DC is rumored to be shutting down. Now, I've only found one source that is saying this, so I'm not gonna take it accurately, and I'm not gonna take it seriously. Because the people that are praising it shutting down
Mhm.
are people that didn't read DC in the first place. Um, but what do you think on that?
I don't see it happening. I mean, maybe if it continues going down, they'll cut it out. But DC's properties in the comics division got added into the price that
Mm-hmm.
they paid for it, and they're not just going to pay that money and then do away with it without
Well,
getting
another
something
thing
for
is
their
if they
money.
don't put these characters in comic books, they lose the right to these characters. You guys really think DC
Yeah,
Comics is gonna let people like Marv Wolfman and other creators get these characters back?
exactly.
There's no way in hell.
It's a chain reaction. If they shut them down, it's like you said. If they sell them off, then someone else suddenly has the rights to
Mm-hmm.
them to make
Honestly, that
movies
might
with
be
them.
okay though.
But
Honestly,
no,
it may actually work in DC's
yeah,
favor. I mean, look at Birds of Prey.
yeah,
Like, what is going on with that? New Gods I'm
yeah.
terrified
That's
for. If you guys don't
uh,
know, Mr. Miracle is one of my favorite male superheroes from DC. And a lot of that has to come from Adrian actually introducing me to the character. But I did a Fire Explains Mr. Miracle episode, which is one of my earliest videos. And I really like the Mr. Miracle character. And when Tom King got his hands on him, and I'm gonna keep saying and because that's like my catchphrase now. Um, but when Tom King wrote him, it was such a depressing read. I didn't even get to issue 6, and people are like, well, it really has a happy ending. I'm like, no. You
yeah,
want me to read 12 issues hating this book and making myself feel terrible, and then you want me to stick around? You want me to pay $4 every issue? To stick around only for you to tell me, like, oh, well, yeah, it was all a dream, or, we don't really have a conclusion. No, that was a stupid book. And if you like the
yeah,
book, congratulations. Like, again, I'm happy that other people like it and can enjoy something that I can't. That's the good part about comic books, is that we have the ability to like different things. Now, I like certain comic books that other people are like, okay, Kinsey, you got some problems there. Um, but yeah,
yeah. I bought the collected edition, and I was so excited to read it because I liked the New
yeah.
God stuff, and I didn't finish it.
I
I
got
still
to
haven't
issue
finished it.
6 because everybody was like, "Oh, it's so good, Pope," and I was like, "Really? I've been looking for a good comic book because I believe at the time Starfire hadn't been in comics for 6 months. Like she made one cameo in a book and that was it. So I was like, "Yeah, let's read this," and then it was like, "Oh, um, yeah,
Yeah, it was uh, it was just everything about it was bad. It was just
it
too
was
Tom
just too."
King.
That's how I'm gonna start explaining things. It was just too Tom King. No, I don't. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think
I
Disney
mean,
would be the last person DC would sell to. I honestly think that they would give the characters away for free before they give them to Disney. Um,
mm,
I think Warner Brothers has such a hatred for Disney, and I think they're justified in doing in that hatred. Um, so I don't think Warner Brothers or AT&T would sell to Disney even if Disney offered a bajillion bucks. I think they'd honestly go, well, we'll just give it to Fire before we give it to Disney. Um, but yeah, I don't think DC is shutting down anytime soon. So if you are a DC fan, and why wouldn't you be? You're hanging on a DC channel. So like if you are, there's nothing to worry about. Now they might cancel your favorite titles. Teen Titans may be in one of the runnings to get canceled, but I do think that DC will keep going with comic books, and I think you'll see the Trinity thrive. And well, I wouldn't really say Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman actually sells less copies than Harley Quinn. Um, and again, Harley Quinn's not selling that great either. But I want to blame that on New 52. I want to blame all of this on New 52 because New 52 was the whole era of if you don't like these books, don't read them. We don't want you as consumers. Just go away, buy older books, get out of our faces. If you don't like it, don't read it. That's when all of this started.
Yeah.
And nobody can convince me otherwise. New 52 is what started the consumer hate movement in comics. And, Dan Dildo even admitted in his own special way that, yeah, modern comics suck, and we're trying to improve on that. Because again, okay, Rebirth was really good. Rebirth was a fantastic start to what they needed to do to get back their fans. Now, they're not going to get all their fans back. Unfortunately, when you tell a large consumer base that's very niche to go fuck themselves, a lot of them aren't going to come back, and there's a reason for that. You just told them to go F off. And when you're that disrespectful to their favorite characters, and they're already that uninterested in these characters, a lot of people aren't going to come back. But you can get some. You're probably going to get some of them back. I don't even think you'll get the majority of them back. When people are done with comics, they're done. Like, there's just
nah.
it's a hobby. It's not a lifestyle. It's just a hobby, and people don't need it. So when you tell people, like, it's not like it's food or something. It's not like it's Rice Krispies to where it's yummy and delicious and people are gonna eat it. This is entertainment, and when you're not entertaining, people aren't gonna buy it. And unfortunately, DC on New 52 was not entertaining. Now, some people will point out, well, Aquaman was really good, and this book was really good, and you were correct. Not every book in New 52 was utter garbage. It's just, I am not going to cherry pick to find good books. I should be able to pick up a Superman or Batman book and be able to go, yeah, this is okay. And let's be honest, if your biggest seller is Batman, Batman should not be your weakest book. Duh, Tom King. Yeah.
Yeah, Batman's one of the most popular
He's one of
superheroes in
the
the
only
world.
comics
It should
that is
be
still selling
a cakewalk.
well. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
anything other than well because it's still very, very bad. But at least he's carrying DC right now, I should say.
Well, I mean, DC must know something's wrong. You don't take a popular writer, off 15 issues early. I mean, yes, they are giving him a miniseries, but
Well, DC
why wouldn't they
also
just keep
took
him going?
off Marv Wolfman from Titans, or from Teen Titans. So I'm just not. I honestly, I just don't care what DC does with their writers anymore, because you could be following. This is another problem. You could be following the best book ever, and then instantly somebody's replaced off of it. Justice League Odyssey is a good example of that.
Yeah.
While it took 6 months to get one issue out. That's not excusable. It got delayed more times than I could count. And this is a publisher. This is DC Comics. This is their publishing thing. And it took 6 months for comics. This isn't indie comics. This is an actual, like, big two comic. And instead, what you do is you take 6 months to get it out. And,
And this was a series they hyped as well.
they
Like they
had
had that
no justice to
miniseries, No
hype it.
Justice,
They
leading up
had
to the
they
three
took
team.
several Titans, switched up the teams, did all this stuff to hype it, and I know what happened with Odyssey. The Bat writers or I believe it was the DC editors changed their mind on some stuff, and yeah, I'm aware Speedy's having trouble joining. I'm gonna need his email. But yeah, what they did was they had him change because he had the first 3 issues completely drawn out, completely done, and then DC came in and said redo it. And he was originally, I think he was going to be the artist for the whole series, and then they took him off in 4. It was 4 and 5 were some of the worst comic art I've seen at DC. And that's saying something because I have read some Harley Quinn books. So yeah. Honestly,
Is Harley Quinn still in Suicide Squad?
Everybody knows I hate Harley Quinn. Like, I do not like Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. I liked her when she was first introduced, when she was a villain. I do not like her as an anti-hero or the female version of Deadpool. I just don't. I don't find her funny. I don't find her clever. I don't find her adorable. I find her annoying.
See, I feel the same way about Deadpool because I grew up with when Deadpool. I have his first appearance, and I have his first miniseries, and he's changed so much. They've made him into a cartoon. Like he was always a jokey character, but it was gallows humor. It was, he was making fun of his opponents as he murdered them, not
Yeah,
just
I mean that can work.
cartoony
It
crap.
honestly can work in comics. I've only read. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like Marvel. They treat my X-Men's bad. That was the book I read was X-Men, and nobody would ever guess that. But no, that was the book I read was X-Men. I'm
Yep.
gonna get a lot of flack from this, but I like Cyclops, and they have been treating Cyclops bad since the 90s. So
Oh yeah.
late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, the Grant Morrison. When Grant Morrison took over,
I
that's
believe
when
it.
X-Men started going
I believe
downhill.
it. But yeah, I like Cyclops. Cyclops is not my favorite X-Men leader, though. I really like Storm. She is my favorite X-Men character with Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is so adorable. I have to love him.
hmm
So
I like Nightcrawler and Archangel and Rogue. Those are my three.
can you? I'm gonna send you his email. Can you send him the link? Because I don't want to dox him. Yeah, I just realized it
Yeah,
pops up on YouTube. But yeah, Archangel is pretty cool. Yeah, I remember
you
that
too.
storyline. I have read some Marvel books, but I've read one Deadpool trade, and it had Kid Deadpool in it, and he was the only version of Deadpool I liked. It was Deadpool, like it was a Team Deadpool kind of book thing, like a multiverse thing with a whole bunch of Deadpools. Um, Other than that, like I don't like I don't like the modern X-Men. I don't like any of the modern comics from Marvel. And it was when people say that they dropped Marvel
Yeah,
like in 2014, I'm like, well, I've been ahead of the crowd. I dropped them back in like 2005.
yeah, I did it
Yeah.
early 2000s as well. Like I said, it was when Joe
No,
Quesada was
and that guy
editor in
was
chief.
such a jerk. Like everything wrong with Dan Dildo, Joe is just as bad with, only worse because he's he's a lot
Yeah,
more
he
open about
was
it. Like
worse.
why are you hiring people that hate their consumer base? And look, I get it. Comic book fans can be super entitled. I know. I trust me. I get it. But when you're constantly trying to tick them off and you're doing things like fake weddings, you're doing things where you retcon everything, you're making it to where these characters are unlikable. We got our
Hey,
token,
everybody.
Speedy.
Hello.
It's been like
Good to be
what, three
back.
streams without Speedy?
um, yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, well
Yeah, I
we're
guess
Yeah, I
so.
talking
think
Joe.
so. Yeah.
Joe.
Um,
I
did you hear what he did when he first
I was
took
a
over?
kid.
The
I
whole
was a kid
the
Wait,
when he
Sentinel,
first
I
took
think the
over, and
guy's
even
name
as a
is.
kid, I knew like don't read these. What are you doing,
Okay.
Speedy?
He
Oh,
oh, I
mute
mean,
yourself when you do
no,
it.
that is not.
he when he took over as editor in chief, he released this statement saying that they like his first act as editor in chief was to take inventory of their back issues, and they he claimed to have found a Jack Kirby creation that was never used called, I think his name's Sentinel. He's still around.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, the
Superman
blonde guy.
ripoff. And that they would
Yeah.
be releasing the original art and he would be joining the Avengers.
Hmm.
So they released the supposedly original art. People immediately said that's not Jack Kirby art. And then Casada just came out and was like, "Oh yeah, I lied. I wanted to sell some comics."
That's yeah.
Of course he
Yep,
did.
Yeah,
yep. Sentry, yeah. The blonde guy. I don't. Yeah, he was the guy that started the zombie apocalypse
yeah,
too, in the Marvel universe. I've read Marvel Zombies.
yeah,
And okay, real quick, I picked up the latest issue of Deceased today. $5 for the variant
yeah.
that people want. Um, I get that you're in debt, DC, and
Mm-hmm.
I get that comic shops are dying. but you make the movie variant. That's the one that people want, and you make it $5. But I mean, I guess it's better than Marvel, because Marvel would make it $7 and it'd have 5 pages less. So at least DC is something. Yeah, Neostar, if you can send me the Twitter link or message me on Twitter or something. Yeah, but okay, and here's the thing though, nothing happens this issue besides a giant nuke, and that bugs me. Like, okay, so Damian becomes Batman in this issue, but you don't see him dressed as Batman. The Atom goes inside Captain. What's his name? God, I'm gonna be called a fake geek now.
Which
Captain
one?
Atom, I think.
Silver guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the silver guy.
I got confused.
That's Captain Atom, yeah.
So the Atom gets inside Captain Atom, and he turns him into a zombie because he starts ripping up his blood cells or something. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, Zombie Atom. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, a Microsoft man sees the heart of a living weapon, and then that's how Captain Atom becomes a nuke. Then everybody dies. No, okay, so you guess which Titans made it through the zombie apocalypse? Wallace West,
None of the good ones.
Sandsmark, and Garfield Logan. And there's so every black character in the DC universe has made it through the zombie apocalypse so far.
What's a horror movie? It's horror movie rules. The black guy always does.
All the black characters in the DC universe are still alive in the zombie apocalypse. There's not one that's been shown to be a zombie. They're scared to.
Oh, they're scared.
Okay, I guess. I mean, I guess that. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, that's Speedy. Speedy likes to whistle.
That's a weird.
Really
that's a weird 3 Titans.
Now we don't see the zombie versions of the other Titans, but considering that it's just Casey and Beast Boy in there, and that's weird because Beast Boy's always the one you see on his phone. So you would think that if something is causing a zombie virus through their phone, it would be Beast Boy that gets it.
Oh, is that how they're transmitting it?
Well, it started through their phone, and then it starts by
that.
like the blood and stuff. That's how Aquaman gets infected, or that's how Garth gets infected, because he kills Aquaman, and then the blood flows up from in the water and it infects Garth. Hey, we got a Shabby. Should I join?
Yep.
Storm, Wolverine, Colossus. Honestly, I like.
Hey, Mike.
Hello.
Well, if you listen closely, it sounds more like Blackest Night all over again. No, Blackest Night was interesting. Blackest Night. Okay, what I liked about Blackest Night was you got to see heroes in comics that stayed dead, and you got to see how DC does it: kill their characters. So at least with Darkest Night, like, you got to see that there's this huge comic trope of characters never staying dead. So at least with that, there's that, right? And Blackest Night was so badass, and it also came at a time when zombies were popular. Deceased is coming at a time when zombies are now mocked, and they're no longer interesting.
And
Blackest
Night was in continuity. Like, I really don't care about Deceased because it's imaginary.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Also, Shabby needs
I'd be
the
okay
Titans.
with it being outside continuity
Yeah,
if
so
it
now.
was like a bigger than what they're doing 6 issues of this. But yeah, no, we still haven't seen half the DC universe as zombies. We saw very few. We saw Batman, Nightwing, Robin. Well, we saw the Bat family, and then Aquaman, and then Green Lantern. That's it. Like, what are you doing, DC? Show us, like, if you're gonna do a thing based around zombies in the DC universe, show us the goddamn characters.
Didn't they do Superman and the Golden Age Superman and I think Martian Manhunter?
That's another thing, though. Like, how are some of these characters gonna? Because the big threats is Superman, Martian Manhunter. You know, the Atom. How are they going to get infected? If they are alive and they aren't infected, there's no threat, because everybody else is just humans. Like there's no threat with the zombies.
Yeah.
And, it's got some really good art to an extent, because they draw children like grown adults for some reason, and that always bugs me. No, Blackest Night was so much better than Marvel Zombies.
I agree. Blackest Night was badass.
It was a different take on it, and you got to see some characters that were dead for years.
Yeah.
I kind of like Tom Taylor, so I'm okay with him doing zombies as long as
I
it's
just think the
entertaining,
thing with Blackest Night was that you saw characters that had been dead for such a long time come back. You saw how it emotionally impacted a lot of these. I'm just gonna mute you. You saw how it affected these characters, that are already traumatized, and we'll get into the whole Heroes in Crisis thing and how it didn't deal with PTSD or anything like that later. But you saw how these heroes are traumatized by that, how it affects them. Even it affects every story in DC. The Titans deal with it. The Nightwing deals with it. Batman deals with it. Well, I actually think Dick was Batman at the time. Was it? Yeah, Dick was Batman at the time. One of the things that really stuck with me is when Donna Troy is holding her zombified son, and he bites her. Like, that broke my heart, because I'm like, oh, but he's dead, and she's just holding him, and she just misses her baby, and I'm like, how could you? Like, that was a moment that fucked with my heart, man. Yeah, so Blackest Night, because the problem with Marvel Zombies is it felt so hopeless. At least with Blackest Night, there was some hope there. There was some, like, oh, what are they gonna do? And oh, there's really no way to stop these zombies, but there is a way. They just don't know how to multiply it. What characters died in Blackest Night? Wasn't it just the female Hawk?
I know there was some of the Flash's Rogue Gallery, because they killed children, but rogues are never supposed to kill women and children. So they killed those ones. Can't remember which one. Because, they broke the code that you cannot kill women and children.
Yeah, okay. I just realized something. DC is trying to do Legion of Superheroes, but Phantom Girls is with the Terrifics. Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah. DC.
That was another thing that annoyed me. In one of the Heroes in Crisis, there was Mr. Terrific, and I was like, so did he bring the rest of the Terrifics with him when he came to his little health retreat, or not?
Starfire, which proves the fact that Starfire is an emotionally stable character, and all you other characters suck ass.
Comic Book Bob wants to know if you could pull any character from any universe, Marvel, DC, Indie, into any book
would move
world,
Wolverine
what would it be?
To any book other than X-Men, just because I feel like he single-handedly is the reason why all the other X-Men get crapped on. And that's such an interesting thing, by the way, guys. You know why they've been pushing Captain Marvel so hard, right? It was because Fox owned the best Marvel women. You had Storm, you had Phoenix, you had Rogue, you had Shadowcat.
You mean the X-Woman? Very much, almost every great female character is in the X-Men.
Ones, I mean, you had. Well, let's not get
even
into
the
politics.
best Muslim characters are all X-Men.
But the best diverse characters were from the X-Men. The best female characters were from the X-Men. And when Fox had the movie rights for X-Men, Marvel's like, okay, let's start pushing these other women with less backstory, less heart and development put into them. And I think that's another reason why comics started failing, is that they started pushing characters that didn't really have the love that had been put into them. Because there's characters you can tell have love that was put into them.
It's just that they chose the roles of the 6 Captain Marvels too.
Into politics again.
No one.
We try to stay.
Well, that's not politics. It's just that
I
she's
would
literally the
disagree with
least
that.
liked
I
of
think
all six of them.
honestly, if you go back to the original Captain Marvel like books and stuff, Monica was not as well liked as people like to remember. A lot of people didn't like her when she first appeared, so I don't really think it's fair to go, well, Carl is not the most liked or is the most hated, because I have met people from that era of comics that were like that. My comic shop even told me, they're like, I don't know why everybody all of a sudden likes Monica. People hated her when she first came out. Um, I mean, I know why people all of a sudden like her now.
I never had a problem with her. I read the comics that she was in.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
And when
some
it
of
came
them.
to
Comic
Carol, one of
Book
the biggest
Bob,
problems is that
Scarlet
she
Witch
just
is
didn't
still
have an
immune
interesting
though.
rogue gallery.
Scarlet Witch is still immune. She-Hulk.
Wait, didn't they rewrite her
Yeah.
comic book the Twins history? Because I
I'm
remember
trying to read the chat.
because they did the whole thing where
Comic Book
oh
Bob,
no,
Monica was just misused. I can definitely agree with you there. A lot of the characters like that are okay. There's really no such thing as bad characters, only bad writers. And when your writer makes characters that should be interesting, because Monica does have a very interesting relationship with her father. She does have a very interesting relationship with the rest of the team, but it was misused, and that's why, and misplaced, and that's why people didn't appreciate the character at the time. And well, I wouldn't really say appreciate. I should say that
She was also coming like right at the end of the kind of the blaxploitation era of comics with Luke Cage and stuff. So she was really she had the afro, and she was really in a lot of
I can
ways
see
very
that.
stereotypical.
I will admit though,
when
she
it
does
came.
have the best costume. Like that is I like her costume, but I also like Disco
Yeah,
Nightwing's costume.
the black and white.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if my taste should be allowed. What did you say, Raggedy?
The
wait,
one
there's a
where
new
he could
animated
glide.
Marvel movie coming out?
No, not the gliding one.
The
The
one where
disco
he could
one, like
glide.
his first Nightwing costume. Back me,
Oh, not the
yeah,
gliding one
back me up here, Speedy. Back me up
with the
here.
high collar.
Disco Nightwing.
Yep, Disco
Yeah,
Nightwing.
the best
Wait,
Nightwing
I
is
love.
costume.
that the
I love
original
the
one?
finger stripes. The finger stripes are sexy, but
Oh,
Disco Nightwing is just such a classic costume. Now, you can blame Artsy Bear for 90s Nightwing.
Yep.
Thank you, Art, you jerk. No, I love Artsy Bear. He's one of my favorite people. But gosh dang, I've mocked him for that costume. No, he wasn't the sole person responsible for it, but he had something to do with it. Yes, but Wanda was never part of the X-Men mythos. They kept her and Quicksilver separate until the last decade or so. Yeah, and that's probably good. That's probably for the best. Now, I'm not saying that Marvel. Yeah, they did, didn't they?
They started off as X-Men villains.
Yeah, they went from X-Men villain to Avengers.
No, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna be
Quicksilver
honest
was
here.
a member of
I
X-Men.
liked Miss Marvel in comics. I liked her.
Oh yeah,
She was awesome as
I didn't
Miss
like her as
Marvel, and she was awesome as
Warbird first. I
Warbird
didn't
and
like her as
Fire.
Warbird, but I thought
It's
she
only
was
when she
cool
took the
because
title.
she's like a Starfire knockoff. How can I not like her?
yeah, but once she became
Okay,
Captain Marvel,
alright.
she just became a
I'm
complete
gonna.
fascist.
She was a member of the X-Men for a while, back when they were in the Outback, because she was living in Rogue's head, and she kept taking control of her.
Yeah,
Because Rogue
Carl
was
was
having
a
hissy fits.
cool character to me. I feel like Grayson is a better superhero than Bruce, I should say. Okay, no, I'm gonna say this about Dick Grayson and why I think Dick Grayson was a better Batman. Dick has more empathy for people. Bruce, he's not doing this. Okay, Dick is doing this because he loves people, like he loves people and he loves helping people. Bruce is doing this because he doesn't want anybody else to have what happened to his parents. Only problem is, how many Robins has he ended up orphaning?
Quite a
Well,
few.
let's see.
Well-
Dick was an orphan before he got him.
Yeah.
Jason Todd, he was a thief living with his, I
He
think,
was an
abusive
orphan.
father.
No,
Well,
he
Like, was
wasn't
it?
living. He was living in an orphanage.
I should correct that. He's not a better
The
Batman.
lady
He's a
who
better
ran it
hero.
was a
Yeah, that's
crook.
what I meant. His Batman works better with Damian and Stephanie Brown, but yeah, he's not the better Batman. Bruce Wayne will always be the best Batman just because of his personality and because he sees himself as nobody but Batman. Dick Grayson, he seems more like the person. He has more empathy and therefore seems much more heroic and or at least to me. I am a bit biased though because Dick Grayson is one of the biggest the best known Teen Titans character, and to me I'm a bit biased there. I just find Dick Grayson to be a much more better hero than Bruce, and I think that has a lot more to. I mean, even look at his city. He goes to Bloodhaven because he needs a hero, not because he was already there. Like that should tell you something about Dick Grayson. He's like, this city needs a hero. I'm gonna be that hero. And I absolutely love that. It was one of the reasons why I love Cyborg, because when Cyborg wasn't being a hero, he was volunteering with children. Like, it's just, we need to bring that back with characters. We need to bring it back to where it's not just hitting bad guys in the face. It's also, the empathy they feel and wanting to be a hero. Because we've done so much deconstructing on heroes that there's nothing left to deconstruct. There should be a little bit of restriction going on. We should have it to where our heroes reconstructing. Yes. We should. Why are we not doing that? We just keep constantly having creators that want to deconstruct, and it's like you're already digging underground here. There's nothing left for you to destroy. It's just like you've tore down the statue. Now you're just digging a hole under it, and it's like, why are you not putting something there? You can't just constantly deconstruct. You need to do a little bit of building.
Well, that would imply that they have integrity and nobilism and empathy. Things that heroes are supposed to have. That's why that's one reason they can't write heroes, because they're pretty much villains themselves, or at least anti-villains.
Okay, no more. Okay. All right, guys, we're gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for popping on with us. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Please watch us on Friday for Comic Book Club. We have a very special comic that day, and then Saturday we will be releasing the Outlaws Play D&D. That video will be very funny. Raggedy actually wrote the script on that one, and I think you guys are really gonna love it. And then next week we will be doing a Titans parody, and that one is going to be fun. Please please subscribe, and help me get to my goal of 500 so then I can stop YouTube entirely. Thank you guys, and have a fantastic day. No, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit 500. I'm gonna throw it in on Jason Robinson's face and be like, "Oh look, I did it!" And then I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna stop just to antagonize him. Oh, I'm just doing it because me and Jason have a competition going on who can get to 500 first, and I'm winning. Yeah, help me get to 500, guys. I need it.
She's
I need
at
to beat Jason.
435.
He can't beat me. Yeah. All right. See you guys.